video is on the least common multiple. So the LCM, also known as LCM, is the smallest multiple two or more numbers share. So multiple, it kind of looks like the word multiply. So it's a number that, if I took 8, it's what numbers can 8 multiply to get, what products. So for example, 8 times 1 is 8. 8 times 2 is 16. 8 times 3 is 24. 8 times 4 is 32. 8 times 5 is 40. 8 times 6 is 48. And we could keep going and going and going. There's an infinite amount of multiples. Now if we do the same thing for 12. 12 times 1 is 12. 12 times 2 is 24. 12 times 3 is 36. 12 times 4 is 48. 12 times 5 is 60. And again, we can continue. But these are all multiples. We don't want to know which one's in common, but which one is the least one that they have in common. So 24 would be the LCM. So instead of having to list these all out until you find a common multiple, another way to get this answer of 24 is using the L method. So we're going to put an L around the 8 and the 12, and then you're going to think about what's the first factor, first number that you could think of that goes into 8 and 12. So for example, let's say you thought 2. 2 goes into 8 because they're both even 4 times. 2 goes into 12 6 times. What can go into 4 and 6? 2 again. 2 goes into 4 2 times, and 2 goes into 6 3 times. Then we ask ourselves what can go into 2 and 3? Only 1. So because we're finding the LCM, and I have this L here, help me remember what to do, I'm going to make this into an L with the last row. And then we're going to multiply all these numbers here. 2 times 2, and we don't need to multiply by 1. And then times 2 times 3. And we can multiply these in any order because of the commutative property. So if I multiply this, this is 4. And 4 times 6 is 24, which was our LCM, using the L method. So let's take another example here. 16 and 24. Put an L. First number that I think of that goes into 16 and 24 is 8. So 8 goes into 16 twice, and 8 goes into 24 3 times. Then there is no number other than 1 that can go into 2 and 3, so I'm going to make an L and multiply. I don't need to multiply by 1, and this will get me my LCM. So I'm going to do 2 times 3 first because that's easier, and 8 times 6 is 48. So the LCM is 48. And remember what an LCM is what number can both of these multiply to get. They can both multiply to 48, because 16 times 3 is 48, and 16 times 3, 24 times 2. So they both have a multiple of 48. Okay, let's go ahead and take a look at 7 and 5. So a number that is a factor or that can go into 7 and 5, only 1. So when this happens, you're just going to multiply. You can't really make an L. You're going to multiply what's there, and we get the LCM is 35. So if we had 6 and 5, the LCM would be 30, because they have no common factor, so you just multiply them. Okay, now let's talk about where it gets a little bit tricky, but with practice, not so bad. It's if we have more than 2 numbers. So if we had 15, 30, and 50, the first step, and if you skip it you won't get the right answer, the first step is you have to check what factor all three numbers share. So what number can go into all three? So first thing that pops into my mind is 5. So 5 goes into 15 3 times, 5 goes into 30 6 times, and 5 goes into 50 10 times. Then I have to ask, what factor do all three of these numbers have? They don't have anything in common. So with the LCM, once they have nothing in common, you can pair two numbers together. So, and it doesn't matter if I pair these two up or these two up. I can't pair these two up because 3 and 10 have no common factors. So I'm going to pair up the 3 and the 6. So a number that goes into 3 and 6 would be 3. 3 goes into 3 once, 3 goes into 6 twice, and then the 10 is just going to get brought down. Then I'm going to ask myself, can I pair two numbers together and find a common factor? So I can combine the 2 and the 10 together, and it has a common factor of 2. So the 1 will just get dropped down. 2 goes into 2 once. 2 goes into 10 5 times. And now I am done because there is no numbers that I can pair together. So I'm going to make an L. And I need to multiply 5 times 3 times 2. And again, I don't need to multiply by that one. I don't need to multiply by that one. And I don't need to multiply by that one. So just 6. So for me, it is easier if I multiply 2 times 5, because that's 10. And then 5 times 3 is 15. And then 15 times 10 is 150. So the LCM is 150. Okay, let's take a look at another one that has three numbers. So 28, 3, and 14. Okay. So the first step is we need to check whether there's a factor that goes into all three. There is no number that goes into all three of these numbers. So step 2 is I need to ask myself, can I pair anything together? So we can pair these two up right here, and that's it. So I'm going to pair the 28 with the 14 because they have a common factor of 7. 7 goes into 28 4 times. I'm going to just drop down this 3. And 7 goes into 14 twice. Okay, and then I can pair up the 4 and the 2. And 2 goes into both of them. 2 goes into 4 twice. I'm going to just drop down that 3. And 2 goes into 2 once. And then I am done because I can't pair anything together. So now we're ready to make the L. And we're going to multiply 7. We don't need to include that one. So 7 times 2 times 2 times 3. So I'm going to go with 2 times 3 is 6. Then 6 times 2, 12. And then I'm going to do 12 times 7, which is 84, is the LCM.